I'm a typical old bike racer. I'm making excuses already. But I've done 8 laps. I come in, I was like, that's enough. But then again, you had the chalk and cheese of the showdown working, and for someone and the showdown not working. If you wanted to see an angry kid, I was an angry kid. I was fuming. Are you okay running the quick shifter? And I just looked at them thinking, yeah. And I looked at my dad and I was like, what's a quick shifter? Haribo that's been in the fridge.
Hello, welcome to Off Track, the motorcycle racing podcast. I'm your host, Dave Neal. Welcome to Lammy OMG Racing Hospitality, but more importantly, welcome 2011 Bennett's British Superbike Champion, Tommy Hill. Tommy,
how we doing?
Welcome, mate. How are you?
I'm very well. Yeah, good. All good. I can't believe how quick the season's gone so far.
Nuts.
Yeah. So we've got 2 more rounds left, and we're at Brands Hatch, and fond memories of Brands, obviously, and a nice local one for me, so I can get back and have a nice bath in the evening.
What are you, half an hour away?
Yeah, half an hour, 25 minutes. That? Well, 25 minutes if I break the rules. I can't do that, actually. I've got 2 speeding fines recently.
Oh, you kidding?
No, so I'm in the bad book, so I need to try and get them sorted out. So I'm
going to a race meeting?
Yeah, but one of them was over a brow of a hill. I'm making excuses. I'm a typical old bike racer. I'm making excuses already. But no, it was over a brow of a hill when there was a speeding truck there with a camera, and then got caught on the way back from Alton last week. So only a few mile an hour over, but enough to break the rules. So yeah. So we won't talk about it anymore. We'll move on. Yeah, move on.
But coincidentally, my last speeding ticket was on the way to Alton Park. So
right. Okay. They're everywhere
Cheshire,
now. Must be the same.
Cheshire
same
are really keen.
Yes,
it's the same one.
Yeah, not good.
Mate, it's good to see you in paddock. It's been a while that we wanted to sit down and do this. I've been with FHO the last couple of seasons, and then the last 2 seasons with OMG Racing. Tell us about what you do in the paddock as Tommy Hill nowadays. Then we'll go back over the racing.
Yeah, a bit of everything really. I couldn't really sit here and write a list of what I do. As you know, I manage Kyle Ryde as well. Which, firstly to go on that is so nice for me to be involved with a rider. I do get asked every year, which is nice. I'm fortunate to be in that position to be asked by riders, but it's a difficult thing for me to always take on. I've always worn my heart on my sleeve. Since having kids, I'm quite an emotional person now, so whatever I do, I put in 100%. And being involved in a rider, I'm also emotionally involved in a rider. I mean, I stopped at the height of my career, if you like, and top of my game, and I'm still there riding the bike with the riders. So for me to be involved in such a high quality team with OMG Racing and a quality rider with Carl is a dream, really. So I've got to thank him for that. But it works both ways, and he finds it good with me working with him, trying to get the best out of him. And I tend to try and do a lot more behind the scenes than what Carl actually sees. I work closely with Shannon, his crew chief as well. So as a team, we try and get the best out of Carl. We try and keep things simple for him. He's naturally fast and talented, and we've all seen that. There's no doubt that the lad's got so much natural ability that probably winds him up when he says that. I remember when people used to say to me, "Oh, it doesn't look like you're trying." And I'm like, "No, believe me, I'm trying." And it's frustrating sometimes when people do say that, but Carl is fast. He's got some natural speed, and it's just nice to try and fine-tune different areas. And for this year, we've tried to put a structure in place, and whether it adds a bit more pressure on me being involved, but he doesn't want to let anyone down, or the structure's helped him, or he's more focused on his training and he's more dedicated. But the talent is there, the raw talent is there. It's just trying to get the best out of what you've got in the package that you've got. And I feel in BSB, it's about trying to create that atmosphere that is going to give you that 0.2 of a second. Because as we know, every bike out there on the grid is fast.
No question.
It's good teams out there. You go down the pit lane, and every bike and every manufacturer is strong nowadays, and it's trying to get the best out of your package and your team that you've got. So it's great. It's great. I really enjoy it. I enjoy the buzz of the team. Everyone in the team are a good bunch of guys and girls, and we're all here for the same reason. And I just get a real buzz out of being involved. And besides working with Carl, I'm doing all the graphics and design work in the team. So I also do a lot of the sponsorship activation as well with the guys, KJ and the rest of them back in the office. So we're working hard at the moment to try and secure title sponsors for the following season. But it's fantastic news that the team have secured, and Alan secured the deal with Yamaha think that's great for him. We both know how much effort that he puts in and the financial amount that he puts into the team to make this one of the best teams in the paddock, if not the best team in the paddock. So yeah, I wish I could have rode for Alan and Paul and the guys when I was racing. The atmosphere that we have in the garage is second to none, and the bikes are very well prepared. And yeah, generally on a Thursday I arrive and I'm stickering up fairings and bikes, and touch wood, you know, the guys haven't had too many crashes, but yeah, generally stickering up bikes again to go racing. And yeah, so the design side, I work closely with Si on some social media content. There's a lot of other stuff that goes on behind the scenes with OMG as well. As you know, they're actively involved in a lot of charities and other events. So yeah, they keep me really busy, keep me on my toes, and yeah, it's still nice to be involved in such a professional race team.
One thing that I've noticed this year, when we spoke to Kyle, touching on what you said about Kyle and how you're looking after him and managing him this season, he's such a changed character this year. He's still got that youthful enthusiasm, but he's leaner, he's more aware of what he's doing. And you listen to the chat we did with him here this time last year, and even listening to him explain what he does and how he does it, he's taken another step in terms of his development.
Yeah.
And you know, the edges have been sort of, the square edges have been rounded off a little bit. And a lot of that is testament to you and Shannon and Paul as well for bringing him that way. So you can see the changes that you brought into him.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, second year with the team, same bike, and it's consistency. And yeah, we've made some big fundamental changes this year, the biggest one being the suspension brand. But Carl's been quick at testing, he went really, really well in pre-season testing. He's always had it there, but I think, you know, Carl, when Mum is saying, when something's not quite right, he could be off, but when it is right, he's absolutely on the ball, and he knows what he wants. He's very methodical, but he doesn't show it. You know, he's sometimes quite reserved in the way he portrays himself, but deep down, he's listening to everything that we say. And he's a sponge, and he soaks it up, and he goes out there and puts it to the test on the track. So yeah, all credit to Carl as well. I mean, we've moved forward with the bike this year in a few places, made some big changes. One of them's with the front tyre. There's only one or two riders out there that run the stiffer compound of the front, and we've built a bike around that and Carl's style of riding as well. So there'll be certain tracks that we go to where I feel we need Carl to adapt a bit more to try and get the best out of his package. But it's difficult to try and change a rider style over the weekend. But for me in BSB, you've got to try and adapt yourself as best you can and try and get the best out of the package that you've got. Because as I said earlier on in the podcast, every bike out there is good, all good teams, and there's a high caliber of riders. So if you can adapt yourself to a certain situation or adapt yourself to try and ride differently, then we have to do it. And we're having to do that with the two red bikes that we're racing with at the moment, which is quite frustrating because, yeah, heart on my sleeve, I go out the track and I watch and I see things, and it's not easy, but I have been in that scenario before, and you've got to get the best out of your package. But sometimes what can happen is you can want more out of the best parts of the package that you've got, so you're pushing the boundaries even more of what you've currently got. And what can happen is, like we all see with riders, is you generally start going faster in the sector that you're already faster in. So it's about managing it over the weekend, trying to preempt the pass 2-3 corners down the line rather than just get on their tail and try and make the pass in the next corner. You've got to pre-plan each pass and carry the momentum through the turns. The Yamaha has always been like that, and even the feedback and the characteristics that we do see in the garage are very similar to the bike that I rode in 2011, 2012. Even though we're talking 10, 11 years on, it's very similar. And yeah, we just got to try and get the best out of what we got and look at the positives and try not to focus on the negatives. Like you're a very positive guy, and yeah, we just got to try and keep it positive in the garage and the vibe high. And yeah, we've got 6 more races now to try and lift the title, and I think it's doable. Yeah, it's not going to be easy, but racing, anything can happen, can't it?
Exactly right. Excuse me, just let me interrupt a second. Jennifer, can you get the other light out, please? And we'll put it on the floor here so it lights behind us. Tell us the similarities from the Yamaha that you rode back in 11 and 12 to where we are now, like 11 years later.
All right, don't rub it in. Yeah, you could say it's a long time, but
in terms of development, it's not though, is it?
No, and like lap times on certain circuits aren't massively different.
Yeah.
It's just I feel like there's always, technology moves forward. Certain areas the bike would have been improved massively. I mean, I got to ride the bike in Spain at the end of last year. The biggest thing I noticed was the amount of torque. As you exit a turn, the bike wants to hook up and drive off the turn.
Your knees all right?
And when my knees are right, my brain wasn't after a few laps. Just trying to get myself dialed back into hold on to a sort of 230 horsepower bike. But yeah, it was interesting actually riding. I done 8 laps. I come in, I was like, that's enough, because I was scared to put myself back into that position.
Yeah.
And I suppose be more vulnerable, and I knew I'd overthink it. And when you overthink things, you generally end up upside down with a bike in the bin liner. So I opted to pull in, and that was it. Parked it up and had my cafe con lecture, and that was it. So yeah, I think I don't like to put myself in that position again. I mean, there's still riders out there racing now, and I mean that are older than me in BSB and still winning races and on the podium. But I suppose I've changed. Things have changed in my life. Kids, family. Big up my beautiful wife, obviously. And I look at it differently now. And I've had quite a few years off the bike, and I just don't want to put myself back into that position.
I suppose you've not had that many opportunities over the years, have you, to be back on a competitive BSB spec motorcycle? Yeah. I guess that was that the first time for a while?
It would have been, yeah. I mean, it was the first time I rode a BSB bike in 10 years.
Did you not ride the BYs at Kawasaki when you...
Even when I run a race team in 2016, never raced raced it around a track or done a track day. No, just I always like racing on a race weekend and dedicating everything I possibly could do to that race event. I never like doing things half-hearted. So, even when I was pre-season tested, I want to be making sure that I was 100% fully fit, my diet was good. So whatever I'd done, I wanted to do 100%. So I don't really like the thought of trying to do something at the caliber that I was doing it at, or half-hearted. I want to do it right.
Makes sense.
But that's the way I always was when I was racing. Sometimes I look at that and think, why was I like that? But I suppose you could say that maybe who I was and helped me win the championship, and laid it on the line. And it's funny with me because everyone does still talk about that last race, and for me, being involved in that last race was amazing for me, my career, but also like the BSB following. I mean, I still get it now. Certain people that have never even seen a motorcycle have watched the race at Brands Hatch, and I think it was almost like the pinnacle of what the showdown was set out to do.
Yeah.
And me and Hopper did it, and I just come out on top. And nice to be involved. But I also, when everyone brings up that race, in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, but there's loads of other amazing races that I've been in that almost in some ways felt better to me, for what I achieved on that day. But I think from the spectacle point of view on that last lap, it was an unbelievable day. But there's a lot more races in my career that, I suppose molded me and done what they've done to me over the years. So it was a good day.
When you look back, what is the most memorable race for you personally? Not for the fans, because the fans would always go 2011 race 3 or race 2 as it was back then at Brands. But for you personally,
one of the most memorable ones was probably the worst one, and that was Donington Park when we went into the final round, leading the championship, and
I expect you to bring that one up.
No, I lost it, and but then again, you had the chalk and cheese of the showdown working, and for someone, and the showdown not working, but. And this was always a big debate with the showdown part of the championship. A rider could win all races and then get to the last part of the season and lose it all. In 2012, I had such a good championship lead going into the showdown. I lost it all within like 1 or 2 races. So, that was one of my memorable ones, but for the bad reasons that I lost the championship. But it's all part of bike racing, ups and downs, and it was the chalk and cheese of that whole series of the showdown. But nice to be involved in them both, but come out on top the year after.
It is life's rich tapestry, isn't it? That's the thing. So
exactly.
In the difference that it was actually pissing it down outside.
Jeez, rain coming now.
I'm pleased we didn't sit outside to do this, because this would have been embarrassing. It would have been sat under the umbrella over there. One thing that, as I was thinking about this, because thank you for joining us, by the way.
That's all right, absolute pleasure.
Finally to get sat down. It's We were trying this last year, but we for whatever reason, and I'm not going to throw you under the bus, we didn't make it happen. But I'm so pleased that Tommy's made it now.
Finally.
I was thinking back because I followed your career closely from the R6 Cup through World Superbikes and your pole at Silverstone, and then through to becoming British Superbike champion. I remember the R6 Cup so clearly because they had the TV show, the first of its kind, Natural Born Races.
That's it. Yep.
6 episodes. There was you. There was Cal, Tommy Bride.
I was very reserved on that TV show because it led a few people down a garden path. So I just was concentrated on working and racing at the weekend.
I seem to remember there was at Cadwell Park, and I can't remember which way round it was, but there was you and Cal going into the hairpin. Now, was it you on Cal or was it Cal on you? Was that the pass to get the championship?
Well, no, it was Peter Ward.
Was it Wardy?
It was Wardy. So what happened that day was, we all got taken up to the office, and I got disqualified from the race. And if you wanted to see an angry kid, I was an angry kid. I was fuming. But that year we also had the ACU side of it as well. So you had the ACU Academy, and there was Cal and there was Kieran, and there was all that the testing going on behind the scenes. And the One Make Championship was the One Make Championship. It was pull your keys out of a hat and go and race a bike, and that's exactly the way that we went with it. But then the riders were buying bikes, or they were getting sponsored bikes, and they were testing in the week, and it got a little bit messy towards the end, but it was still, you turn up, you go and race a road going bike and take your indicators off, and that day there it just got really messy. So I was up in the office, got disqualified, and I went to Brands very angry, and we went there, and I'm not sure if the people watching this podcast are listening in, but we got to Brands, and it was the Indy track, and they won the race by about 6 to 8 seconds. I can't remember what it was, but a big gap for the R6 Cup considering everyone was on the same bikes. And I think it was all due to the fact that I was so angry from Cadwell Park. And we got back that night, and my dad sat in the kitchen and had 1 or 2 beers as he does, and he come in and he was like, "You've won the championship." I was like, "No, get back in the kitchen and have your beers again." And then he kept coming in saying, "No, I've worked out all the scores," because you could drop your 2 worst scores, so you couldn't quite work it out properly, but he went through every eventuality. And then we got a phone call at 12 o'clock at night, and it was Fred Clark. No. And Fred had rang us up and goes, "Tommy, I'm sitting here just working it out. No one can beat you at the final round." So we actually worked out between us all that I'd won the championship before BSB. And got to the final round as R6 Cup champion, and there I was. There you go, Tommy. There's your prize, and got 15k back, which was the entry fee. Nice. And then, straight onto a full-blown superbike. And, the rest is history, really. So, it was a big jump, but it worked, and it was
worked out all right for you, didn't it?
Yeah, it was amazing, really. A bit of an eye-opener, especially the first few tests. And I soon sort of worked it out and realised what I needed to do. But, funny little story at Donington Park. We managed to get a test, actually. It was on Steve Hislop's R1. So Rob was giving a few people, Rob Mack from Virgin Yamaha was giving a few people that run an R1 in Superstock a shot out on a superbike. And I went out there, and prior to that, Kev Stevenson and Ian Presswood come over to me and they said, "Are you okay running the quickshifter?" And I just looked at them thinking, yeah. And I looked at my dad and I was like, "What's a quickshifter?" So I've left the pit lane, and the way I used to change gear was hold it pinned and just flick the clutch across style. I tried to do that on a superbike. I don't think there was a gearbox left at the end of it. So, sorry about that. I left them with a gearbox in 1,000 bits.
And both of them still in the paddock now.
Yeah, they're still about. So, a lot of old faces that I see. People have either changed team shirts or, taken a different route in life. But it's nice to bump into everyone. And, like everyone that you see, we've had our ups and downs together. We've had our face-offs, we've had our arguments, and we've had tools thrown at each other. But, we're still here in the paddock and doing our thing.
It's just a travelling village, isn't it?
Yeah,
nothing changes. Everybody falls out now and again, and things go that way.
Yeah.
But the great thing about your career, and as loyal to the brand of Yamaha as you were, pretty synonymous with it, but a little bit of time on a Suzuki.
Yeah,
as
but
well.
Even through motocross. I spent a lot of time with Yamaha and motocross. Yeah, so I had about 5 years in motocross on Yamaha. So probably about, all through the Virgin days, Virgin Cup, I'd say near on like 12, 14 years with Yamaha. So, Yeah, a lot of years on the blue bikes, and just don't know really. It was moulded into me, but yeah, just always been around Yamaha.
What was the time like with Rob Mack? There's some. I know I've heard so many stories from Kev Stevenson, people that have worked with Rob, and eventually at some point we will get him on the podcast. It's been 10 years since he's been on, so we will get him back on some point in the not too distant future. What was it like working with Rob, especially as a young rider in the British Superbike Championship? And Rob was a taskmaster. There's no doubt he had his man management skills.
Yeah, he was. Rob was he was almost like going racing with your friend, and then when it was going wrong, that we were pulled to the side, and it was we were told, or we were given a bollocking, and that was it. But we used to do a lot of stuff off track as well. We used to go trials bike riding, mountain biking. Remember one day got the whole arse cut up to Scunthorpe, and we all went mountain biking, and off track was all good, but first few years were pretty good, and as a rookie, I managed to get a few front row starts in BSB, and I had a really good year. And then the following year, we switched to the Big Bang, which was the first time they changed the firing order to the Big Bang. So that was a big change for us. And then the year after that, we switched to Pirelli, and we were, as well as one other team running Pirelli, but it was tough times. Like, if I look back now, I don't know how I'm not in a box. Like, I mean, I crashed a lot, and we just got to a point where I felt like I was better than the bike, and the results I was getting. Pirelli felt that their tyres were better than me and the bike. The team felt their bike was better than what I was doing and Pirelli were doing. Kev felt his engines were better than what I was doing. It just got to a point where it was time to call it a day. But the biggest lifeline that got thrown to me was the opportunity to do the World Supersport Wildcards with Yamaha, and we turned up there, and it set the world on fire. It was amazing for me just to sort of try and showcase my ability on a level playing field. As we know, back then BSB, you had the tyre wars going on, and a lot of races were won with tyres, with the battle with Michelin and Dunlop, and it was a real challenging time, and we had quite a few face-offs with Rob in the garage. But on the flip side, it was we're all there for the right reason and all trying to do the same thing, and we all got to a point where we probably outgrown the relationship. But good times, bad times. One of the story that I've never told anyone or publicly told this story because I felt like no one was going to believe me. So Rob rang me up one day and said, "You need to get yourself to the airport. You need to fly to Barcelona." So I was like, "You're testing Rossi's bike?" Then that was his exact words. So Rob, you can back me up on this, but I don't think he's even brought it up. So I got to Gatwick, and I needed to bring a suit because it was the Lariat Sports Awards.
Oh, yeah.
So the plan was that I was going to be going to Barcelona, doing a bit of a test on Rossi's bike, and then I'll be riding Rossi's bike into the Lariat Sports Awards. But with Rossi helmet, Rossi kit, Rossi would walk on stage, but it was Tommy Hill. So anyway, turned up at the airport, and I'm looking around trying to find some posh car or something, and a van pulls up outside, and the guy comes over to me with a sign saying "Done and Dusted," which was the film crew, the guys that were operating the film stunt, which I soon realised what I was going to be doing. So we turned up and got into the van. We're driving through the town. He said, "We need to go to the bike shop." So we got to the bike shop. I'm looking around, and there's a tiny little dingy bike shop in Barcelona. Gone through the back door, gone into the front, and there was a 1999 Yamaha R1 with a yellow Rossi sticker on the front.
Wow.
Straight away, sirens are ringing, lights are flashing. So I phoned Rob. I said, "Rob, you're not going to believe what's happened here. These people that you're so-called saying that I'm going to be testing Rossi's bike was actually just a film crew, and I was going to be the stunt double for Valentino Rossi." So there I was, no Barcelona, no Catalunya track, no Valentino Rossi bike, but they had me riding around this car park doing skids and wheelies on an R1 pretending I was Valentino Rossi.
So you've stunt doubled for Valentino Rossi
at Lariat Sports Awards. And I remember buying a £300 set of ballet shoes at the airport because I had no black shoes. Got my suit, so I had a full tux on with these ballet shoes doing...
Tell me you still got them.
No, I think they're in one... I think the soles were hanging out where I was grinding them on the floor. And yeah, so I was doing the full stunts around the car park. They were trying to pretend it was Valentino Rossi trying to find his way into the Laureate Sports Awards. So yeah, that was like horrendous, from being told that you're going to be testing Rossi's MotoGP bike at Catalonia to putting my life on the line around a car park pretending I'm Valentino
on cold
Rossi.
tyres.
On cold tyres, and it was all down to this film crew that didn't have a clue. They just got a Valentino Rossi replica bike, which is a 99 R1, and put a Rossi sticker on the front. So thanks for that, Rob. You remember that really clearly. So
I'll make sure I remind you.
Yeah, there's plenty more stories, but
bring the lights round a little bit, please. And then that one around a bit more because it's getting darker.
Yeah, it's getting darker.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, that's better. Thank you. Yeah, is that better through the lens? Yeah. I can play with it in post-production. It's fine.
Thanks, mate. Get the filming crew, the done and dusted filming crew.
I mean, that kind of sums up Rob in a little way, doesn't it? There's some of the things
he was excited
he's
as me.
done over the years.
He was absolutely
this is what's going to happen, then all of a sudden it's not even
Tommy an opportunity to ride Rossi's bike, and it was horrendous. Like, yeah, it was pretty degrading, and I remember it clear as day. So, yeah, if Rossi's ever watching the podcast, I stunt double.
He does every week.
Does he?
Yeah,
perfect.
Watches every week.
Yeah, you owe me.
Ciao, Vale.
You owe me.
What's the best bike you've ever ridden?
I would say try not to be over technical, as most riders would say. Like, there's certain bikes have been good for certain reasons, but also I've ridden different bikes at different stages on different rule changes of the championship. So, like most riders that have gone on an R1 would say the Yamaha. I mean, the day that I got on the bike that when we switched to Yamaha, when Sean Muir switched to Yamaha, went testing in Spain, straight away I clicked with the bike. It felt great. I felt comfortable. It done everything that I wanted it to do. The rideability was good. The only problem was to try and race it. Again, like we're sometimes experiencing with this R1, it changes the way you ride. But overall package, I'd definitely say the Swan Yamaha. And back then in 2011, we had magnetic Moretti. And then we had to switch to the controlled ECU system with Motec in 2012. But both bikes were good. We got the Motec working really, really well, but with no traction, no anti-wheelie systems. And lap times weren't too dissimilar, but it was a really nice bike to ride. But as I keep saying, to race was sometimes different and difficult, especially with, for instance, Shaky, who would stop it in the turn, stand it up and fire it. It completely took out all the benefits that we needed to be able to do with our bike. So yeah, it made it a bit tough. But yeah, as I keep saying, you've got to try and get the best out of what package you got.
So when you were fighting for the title in 2011, trying to get the best out of the package that you've got, what memory sticks out most for you for that 2011 season?
I'd say there's probably, again, like, a few ups and downs at the start of the year. I broke my collarbone, which people, again, they forget about because, you go on to the next race and move on. And, I think you forget about all the bad times. But it was, I don't really know, if I'm honest. I mean, you get to some points when you have the bad times that make the good times even better, but you almost forget about each weekend as you go. And then you're looking for the next thing. That's probably a downfall for me in life in general, because I'm always looking at the next thing, and my wife would probably back me up on that and say, yeah, he is like that. But you're always looking to the next thing and trying to see how you can improve, and you never stand still and appreciate what you're doing at the time. That's what I say to a lot of young kids as well. Just try and appreciate what you're doing at the time and enjoy the moment, because I just kept looking forward to the next thing and next race event, how we can improve, how we can move forward, and never really enjoyed that moment at that one time. So it's difficult for me to sort of pinpoint a certain time with that bike. I'd say the most enjoyable time I had was pre-season testing. It's relaxed, and that's when it brings out the best in riders. There's no real pressure, but I'm a firm believer on good testing. And I know I've heard you talk about it before, and a lot of other people, and testing's testing, it doesn't matter too much. I thought in some ways it can work really well, and really well for
to the people watching.
Yeah.
It does to the spectator.
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
No.
But no, for the rider and for the team, it's absolutely
for like
it's so necessary.
Yeah, for the morale as well, and just keep everyone upbeat. And it was real positive for us as well at the pre-season testing with Carl. He was on fire, everything was going well. The guys at Batubo were happy, the team were happy. Yeah, Carl was doing everything right, and Shannon was getting the best out of the package as well, and we were getting the best out of everyone in their own position in the team. I'm a firm believer if you have a good test, I think it just puts everyone in the right direction, right frame of mind, and I think it's important to push the bike to the limits. Yeah, maybe 98%, not the last 2%, but just to get an understanding on what the bike's going to do and how it's going to behave at that level.
Yeah, I'll stick up for myself a little bit on that. From a fan's perspective, testing's testing, because you don't know what the teams are doing in terms. So for the team and for the rider, it's absolutely vital. But for us to look into the times and go, oh, he was really quick. Yeah, we don't know what they're testing.
And what tyres they're testing.
Exactly. That's when I say testing's testing from that point of view. I feel like I've been told off by the host.
No, that's right. No, it makes it enjoyable, I suppose, when people are watching. But then again, you can go testing and come to the first round, and it could be snowing.
We've seen it so many times, haven't we?
Yeah, and it changes.
So look at Maverick Vinales.
Yeah, that's it.
For years on years, he's won testing. Yeah. But when it comes to the actual race,
and whether that's a race weekend is different. You go testing, everyone's relaxed. Riders are riding differently. There's no pressure. And as I said a minute ago, whether testing brings out the best of the rider, and also you could question what they're testing and what they're developing, because as I said before, we have one bike per rider in the championship, and to get a true back-to-back out of the machinery in the bike that you've got is difficult, but also to give your crew chief and technicians the correct feedback, because start of day one, you could go out with the swinging arm that you've been running, have a bowl of carbonara at lunch, back out in the afternoon with a new swinging arm, gone half a second. Was it the carbonara or was it the swinging arm? It's hard to get a proper comparison, because every time you're getting on the bike, you're generally finding something within yourself that you can improve on, or something within the chassis that you've moved forward with as well. So that makes it a little bit more difficult on the development side of things to try and pinpoint exactly what's right. But going back to the testing side, I think a lot of riders, you're a little bit more relaxed there, and we've seen it before with, as you say, Vinales and various other riders that they get to the race and it all changes, or they crumble.
They do a little bit. So how, as a rider coach, and with all the experience that you've had as British Superbike champion and World Supersport and all the experience that you've got, is there one big thing that you can bring to the table, or is it an amalgamation of lots of little things that you've brought in over to your own self over the years?
Yeah, I feel like I was probably, Carl was really focused on, his fitness a little bit more. He was fit last year, but this year I'd openly say he's in the top 5% of the motorcycle riders that have been tested at the university. So his fitness has really, really stepped up, and that's so important for me, all that sort of side, because one, it shows dedication to the team, and also it's a focus to yourself, but also I don't want Carl to have any self-doubt. So I want him to drive out of this track. If he's had 3 horrendous results, I want him to leave the circuit knowing he's done everything he possibly could do to be the best that he could this weekend. And if it wasn't to be, it wasn't to be. Forget about it and move on. And this year he is doing everything he can do. I think deep down, Carl, like I did, if I'm honest, but I probably didn't show it. I think nowadays people will call it anxiety. Back then, we called it butterflies.
Yeah.
Nowadays, people are probably using it more as anxiety, and
there's almost a medical term for it.
I really suffered, but I didn't show it, and I didn't want to show it because I didn't want to show a weakness. To my team, to anyone around me. But inside, I was overanalyzing, or how, and if I was second or third, I wouldn't be happy. I'd be back in the mud. How can I move forward? I couldn't wait to get back down to the garage again to talk to my crew, how we can improve, what can we do, what am I doing wrong? Because I wanted to just keep moving forward, and that eats you up inside. You know what I mean? And sometimes I want Kyle to offload on me a bit more. That's what I'm here to do. Gary Eckerold, you might remember him. He worked in our team, and I offloaded to him a lot, just with my thoughts or what I was, thinking about, or what we can move forward with, or what I was not happy with. And even if you didn't agree, it made me feel better. And if it makes me feel better, I was faster on the track. So, sometimes I think you got to offload, and I think generally day to day what I do, I run my own business, and 9 times out of 10 I'm on my own. So I am keeping everything in, and it's a bloke thing as well. We all keep everything in and don't offload. But yeah, I want Kyle to try and work on that a little bit, offload, and it just to relieve a bit of pressure from him really. But it's it's a big thing. I know everyone watches TV and just watches these guys go around, but we're all here to do a job, and it could all be gone with a click of fingers. And it's a intense industry. There's a lot of good riders out there, and there's not as many seats as there was, but things are changing next year with the rules, as you've seen. A few of the pathway bikes out there this weekend, which I think is good for the overall championship.
Yeah.
I just want them to try and make sure there's a definitive break between the super bikes and the pathway because of the sponsorship side of things and the difference in budgets. Because certain sponsors could go, well, we could just be involved in the pathway for a quarter of the amount that we're putting into that team. So I think it's good to get the grid filled back up again and give the opportunity as well for top running stock 1,000 riders and get them into a super bike, into the pinnacle of our championship, and give some of the young talent an opportunity. It would be good.
It's going to be a nice thing to see, and we'll talk about that shortly. But one thing I wanted to ask you, when you talk about mental fortitude and the strength to be a successful motorcycle racer, working hard off the bike is so important. And some lads cycle, some lads prefer to be in the gym, and they've got trainers and things like that. I remember you used to train with Ross Minter, with Alan Minter's lad.
Yeah,
for those people who are my age, you'll remember his dad.
Yeah.
And you've said before about your aggression as a kid, and you did judo and things like that, and missed a couple of days at school, and how you channel that into becoming a top-line motorcycle racer to then pass that on to the younger riders. That's a massive input of how you changed your outlook from the aggressive side of things to now to be able to sit back and go, well, actually, that's how I did it, and that's how I did it with the boxing and training that way. That was your outlet. So to bring that experience in as well, for me, is fascinating, because it's a different way of training. People don't tend to train aggressively.
Yeah. You've seen it recently. I mean, like Scott Redding's out doing
Thai boxing, he's doing his Muay Thai.
You've got Top Rack that's out boxing, and I think this sport can get mundane and it can be repetitive, and I think it's good for a rider to mix it up and challenge yourself, mix it up, do different sports, different activities, because if it's the same thing week in, week out, and that's what happened to me. I got to a point I was just like, for me to now try and get into World Superbikes was tough. I had to go and find a load of money to bring in, even as BSB champion. And it was like, I was doing the same thing every day. I was still trying to mix my training up. I was then doing a bit of boxing again, it's a bit of sparring in the gym with Ross, and then I was doing the judo. We were at a judo club in Dartford. We had an Olympic judo team. We had a lot of young footballers, even from Arsenal, and there was a big mixture of us, which really kept us all driven, but also was interesting for everyone to see the different fitnesses in all the different sports and how technical some are and how naturally fit others are, or even some not that fit, but will go on a pitch and go and score goals all every weekend. So it was really good, that sort of side, and really kept us all driven and focused. But for me, it just got repetitive, and I think it's so important to keep it mixed up. And it's a good thing with Kyle. He's got a lot of other things that he's interested in, and he likes to keep himself busy. And I think that's important, just to try and have another focus in life. And I did, with my graphics and design company, I started, focusing a bit more on that. And I felt like I could have the time off that I needed to have off to, reevaluate myself in the racing industry. But I think it's important for everyone to have a bit of a mixture in the sport, just to keep them dedicated and interested.
It's an impressive thing to be able to change that focus and to come out of this high octane, really tense, up and down roller coaster of a career for any of the lads and lasses that are out there, to then become Tommy Hill, the family man, with Katie and Harrison and Miley, and all of a sudden this is you sort of suburbia. And you've gone from being the high octane championship side to having your own office and the graphics business and taking a couple of years out of BSB. Was that gap necessary to be able to let you take a step back into it?
No, because I put all my dedication and focus and energy into my business, and I didn't stop. I've done the same as what I would do when I was racing, and that is a big downfall that I've got. I just, Kate was sat as well. I live off adrenaline.
I see that as a positive, not a downfall.
No, but then
that's drive.
But it is drive. But it's also, when do you stop on the merry-go-round?
True.
I'm looking to the next thing. I'm like, right, okay, we've done this business here, we've done that there, and it's non-stop. And I think when you add kids into it as well, and the only time that I feel like I really switch off and I'm in the moment is maybe when I go and watch my boy Harrison play football. And then you leave, and then the phone goes again. And the world that we live in nowadays is non-stop, and it doesn't switch off, which is sad, because you do need a bit of time to switch off, and I don't. So I need to change. I feel like something about myself that I can try and move forward. But as I said before, I dedicate everything that I do 100%, all or nothing. And yeah, it's a positive side to me, but it can be a negative side. But I think. I had kids as well, so I had Harrison that's 10 now, Miley that's 6, but yeah, they keep us on our toes, and I feel like sometimes I want to try and take a bit of a back step and enjoy more of the moments that we spend with our kids, because life flies by. The kids are getting old, and they're keeping us on our toes.
Do you know what? I absolutely love Tommy Hill, the wizened grown up that he's saying.
Try to be.
Trying to be the grown up. I mean, we had some good times last year, didn't we? Working together,
100%.
Which was a real highlight for me, and to bring that experience into the team of running your own team as well. So you've seen it from both angles. The difficulties of running a British Superbike team, sponsors, whether it was the Be Wiser team, whether it was ePayMe. You've been there, and you've given it a go.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't wish that on anybody. So you know what Paul and Alan are going through, trying to put this incredible show on the road. Yeah. And it is. I know I'm a little bit biased because I've still got a little bit of my heart with the team. But to see what they do with Holly and yourself and Sai and the boys, it's a proper family unit. And you are part of that family.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's a great bunch. You've got everyone that respects everyone's role, but I also see that in the garage as well. Everyone's got their position. We respect each other's position, and we're all there to do a professional job and try and get the best out of what we've got. But yeah, like for you working with you last year, I was always interested just the way whenever I spoke to you about some of the positivity that you bring as well. I know everyone has maybe a negative side, but that's what I liked about you, Dave. Like, I mean, whenever I spoke to you, I would be having some drama in the day, but you're always positive and you see a positive outlook on stuff. So that's a nice thing about you, and I always remember that. And it's something that I do try and put that into myself as well. Try and look at things from a different, because there's someone else out there that's having a far tougher time than yourself out there. And it's I just sometimes need to take a bit of a back step, I think, and chill in life, but we're all 100 miles an hour. I'm still young, aren't I?
Yes,
suppose.
mate, you are.
Still young.
You're still,
I try to tell myself I'm still young.
Me. Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah. It comes with age.
I think I've got a bit more grey hair than you. Are you usually like that new L'Oreal for men?
Well, no.
You're not. You're just cutting it off.
It's just getting shorter.
About 2 years ago, I kept cutting mine off, and I was like, it's disappeared. Now I cut it off, and it just reappears the day after. So,
well, thank you for the kind words, mate.
That's right. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Very positive.
We had, and it is. It's about appreciate. I mean, it's the same as doing this now. I have a huge appreciation for what we do, and for you sitting here and chatting with us. Whether it was Jason earlier, whether it's yourself, whether it's Danny Webb tomorrow. It's to understand the person is far more important to understand than what's going on. What's going on out on track, because I want, and this is the story that we try and tell, the story of the people.
Well, like I just said, I didn't show how I felt, and inside I was being eaten up with the stress and the anxiety to do well. I hated finishing second. I hated finishing, and I didn't enjoy racing. Just enjoyed the winning, and that's what I went racing for. And I think it's nice to see the different side of people, and everyone's got a character, and that was what was interesting about the R6 Cup. It brought all the different characters in, and everyone got to see the characters of these riders.
Kieran Clark and Benji
Cockerell. It was a big mixture of different people and different backgrounds and what they were doing. Some were working, some were professional bike racers, and it was a great championship, great series. And what sometimes people don't get to see is the real people behind the visor. And I've always been pretty open with people. As I said before, heart on my sleeve, and it's nice to be like that and try and be who you are. But it's I suppose it's intriguing for the guys that are listening in to listen to different riders and different perspectives on racing and general life.
And this is what we're finding. And everybody has a character. They don't always show it on the TV because they're at work. And so many times I try and get this across. I had the same conversation with Jason O'Halloran not a couple of hours ago. That the chat we had with Tom Booth Amos, get him on the podcast, and so many people came and went, actually, I've changed my opinion. Some won't, some are dead set, fair enough, whatever. But to actually get people to sit down, I don't know whether it's because I've been in the paddock for 10 years or what, I don't know, and people are relaxed with what we do, because I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. I'm not going to ask a question that isn't going to be answered, because that's not fair.
Come on, do one. Oh no, come on, there must be one.
Do you know what? I deliberately don't go that way. So if you could make any decision again, what would it be? I'll give you time to think, because that's normally the one where people...
To have not got on my hands-free World Supersport bike when I arrived at Calafat at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Why?
Because I left the pits and there was an issue with the quickshifter. I come back in, they changed the quickshifter, went back out, same issue, turn one high-sided, snapped my femur, broke my tibia and fibula. And that really put me on the back step through that part of my career, and it may have changed my career path. But I'd say to have just, because at that time of the day it gets cooler, and it was just, I just didn't expect to be riding. I got there and they were like, hey, go out and get your levers and everything right, and then it just backfired on me. Next minute, I'm in a wheelchair for 10 weeks and nearly finished my career. So that one. One other little gripe I suppose I'd have, jumping on something else in the World Supersport, would be Yamaha. Being offered the World Supersport factory ride in 2008, and having a contract pulled away from me on the desk in front of me. And it would have been the route really, possibly, I'm not saying I would have been there, but Cal, World Supersport, World Superbike, because there was a career path for me. Yeah. And it didn't happen.
Why?
So politics of money being brought in from another rider from France. I'll leave it at that. People can work it out. But it just come down to politics again, and unfortunately didn't get the opportunity. So that's one little bee in my bonnet, I suppose. But hey, then again, things might not have materialised the way they did. But there's always going to be that scenarios, and it's people might look at it as it can't be bitter about that. But there's things in life, in business or whatever sector of life that you work in, there's always something that might not quite happen. But that's probably one little gripe that I'd have.
Well, I remember when you broke your femur and your leg, you got incredibly good at jigsaws.
Very good at jigsaws.
All you could do.
It's tough. It was tough.
But it was the only thing that could keep you going mentally.
Yeah.
Because from being 100 mile an hour, literally 100 mile an hour at everything, to then being at home all day, every day, immobilized compared to what you normally are, that's when true character and fortitude comes out.
Do you know, I'm going to say a really funny thing, and this, well, not funny, quite odd. The injury side, I quite liked the dedication that it forced upon me. To come back. Yeah. To come back stronger, to come back fitter, to come back hungrier. And that's exactly what I did. I come back fitter, come back stronger, and we got to Nürburgring 6 months after breaking my femur, and I re-snapped my femur again. So it's straight back to square one. So within 6 months, I had 2 snapped femurs and tibia and fibulas. But the dedication, and some riders might think the same, or they might think opposite, but the dedication that you needed to come back and the fighting spirit that I had to give myself was something I really thrived on, really. Yeah, to try and find the right stuff to eat, to heal myself quicker. And I suppose that's just the breed that some of us are, and the fighting spirit.
Normal people in the street and track day riders, things like that, we're never going to be able to experience that. And people do get injured, unfortunately, but they've got work.
That's it.
They've got sick pay.
I've got jigsaw puzzles.
You got so many jigsaw puzzles. Isn't it mad what I remember?
Yeah.
It's not.
Were you there? Were you outside the house? He was outside the house, wasn't he? Can I do the jigsaw? What sort of piece jigsaw puzzle?
1,000.
Cool, yeah. Go big. Go big. Worst thing about jigsaws is you get to the last bit and one bit's gone missing or the dog stewed it up. So makes it all pointless, doesn't it?
I wasn't spying through your window. It's too far south for me, Tom.
Yeah. But nice down there. It's always sunny.
Is it always sunny?
Always sunny.
Sun always shines on the righteous, Tom.
Yes, yeah.
So it always comes back. I'm going to get my little book of questions out. Because you've listened to the podcast kindly. You know what it's all about.
I love your podcast. I'll tell you what, if any of you are driving, listen to the podcast. Not to say it makes the journey go quicker, but it's just nice listening to them, you know.
Thanks, Tommy.
Nice little plug there.
That's a great plug. Thank you very much. What I want you to do, I have got 27 questions on this first one.
So how comes 27? Is that your lucky number?
No, it's just how many questions are in that thing. That's what I've got to. It could be 30 if I think of any more.
Right, okay.
But what I would like you to do is pick a number between 1 and 27.
33. Number 10.
Number 10. Who would play you in a movie of your life?
Al Pacino.
Nice. That'll do. Next.
Number 6.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
Intense, dedicated, passionate.
Wow. Pretty perfectly done, I think.
Thanks, mate. Thank you very much.
Perfectly done.
Thank you.
It sums you up pretty perfectly. Pick another one.
Number 20. Must have been fan from back in the day. Yeah. Thanks, mate.
Didn't you used to be Tommy Hill?
Yeah, so everyone says that. People do actually say, did you used to be Tommy Hill?
Which is a ridiculous thing.
No, I know, but I suppose they look at me in a different light now. I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose so.
More wrinkles, more grey hair. Yeah.
The question for number 20, what is it that makes motorcycle racing so special?
The fans. And I think that's one huge positive for BSB, the accessibility everyone's got, and that's a big eye-opener for people that have never been to BSB, how accessible it is, how close they can get to the racers and the riders, and the following that the championship has got. So I'd say the fans, but for me as well, the winning, and for me to still be in a great team and work with a good rider as well is giving me the opportunity to still having that winning mentality. So it's I suppose the glory and the fans.
Excellent. And then the next section is 30. Sorry, I haven't even got 33. That's a shame, that. I've got 30. So number
it's like
1
a different
to 30.
category.
Yeah, it's slightly different category. Yeah, just slightly different.
So a number from 30 to
1 to 30.
1 to 30 again. I'll go number 2.
Who's your celebrity crush?
Oh, Nicole Scherzinger.
Second one said that.
Really? What, today?
Jennifer's favourite. No, not today. Tommy Bridewell said that.
Oh, did he?
Yep. He's a big fan of Nicole Scherzinger, as he called her.
That's it. Well, there you go. She must be popular. We've got to get her to a BSB round.
We should do. Jen would look after her.
Yeah.
She's Jen's celebrity crush as well.
Is she yours? Who's yours then? Come on, I'm going to ask you a question. Who's yours?
Don't know who's. Going back some years.
The older one.
The older, yeah, right, Linda Carter. Yeah, not the new one. Gal Gadot. She's nice.
Yeah.
But then I don't know. Carrie Underwood as well. She country singer.
I don't know.
It's difficult to say that while Jen sat there, isn't it?
Yeah. You could have said a bloke.
Christian did.
Yeah.
He caught me right off guard. Pick us another one, Tom.
Number 8.
What's the most random fact that you know?
Oh, wow. That's a tough question. I don't think I know too many facts. I'm not really into my facts. Can't really answer that question. Random facts.
Good these, aren't they?
What sort of rear bar pressure do some riders pull? Have a guess.
Rear.
Yeah, rear brake pressure.
On the thumb brake, the scooter brake,
Scooter
or
brake.
the foot brake?
Scooter brake.
Scooter brake. 16?
20 bar.
20 bar. One far off.
They're the ones with big fingers though. Long
Yeah.
fingers.
They're like,
Or 4 fingers.
like your Brad's.
Like
And
a
he only
handbrake.
used one finger for front brake.
A strong finger.
Don't even want to go down that road.
Kyle switches between actually. Some point he's like 2 fingers, then he'll go 1 just to trail brake a bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
so
to load
yeah,
the front up a
changes
little
it.
bit.
Yeah, changes it over the lap. So there you go, a little fact there for you. That's
There you go, you see?
interesting facts.
That's it. Pick us another one.
Number 18.
Got over the page. You could have an unlimited supply of something. What would it be?
Haribo that's been in the fridge. You put Haribo in the fridge?
No.
Oh, it's perfect. But as long as you can't heat, like let it go room temperature in the fridge because then it gets a bit of moisture on top. You got to like put it in the fridge as you get it, and then lovely.
Tell me you put your chocolate in the fridge.
Actually, Percy Pigs, they're quite up. Percy Pigs.
Percy Pigs are alright. Yeah, Jennifer likes Percy Pigs as well.
Yeah.
Do you put chocolate in the fridge?
Yeah, I'd have to have chocolate. I cannot eat soft chocolate or melted chocolate. I just want to eat it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm just checking.
throw it
Chocolate in the
bin.
fridge is fine. Chocolate in the fridge is fine. There was something I was going to ask you anyway. There's a couple of really good questions on here. I'll do a couple. I'll throw a couple in for you. Who's the most famous person in your phone?
Dave Neal.
Thank you.
It's a good guy, he is.
I don't think anybody said that so far. Somebody might have done, tongue in cheek. Not including speeding, as we said it already.
Oh no. Go on.
Have you ever knowingly broken the law?
Yeah, quite a few times. Yes. Once, one of them was fighting. The other one was, which I am disgusted with now when I see it. Absolutely disgusted. Is graffiti.
Okay.
Disgusted.
But it's set you on the
I
path
get,
to
yeah,
to
good
doing
designer.
what you
There
do.
you go. No, I get angry when I see kids doing something they shouldn't be doing. I get a big like streak of anger that runs through me. Yeah, which is funny because I suppose it's just the way that I've changed, and we all go through certain points in our life that we do probably something wrong, don't we, Dave?
We do. Absolutely,
Thanks.
we do.
You must have done a few things wrong. What about you? Got to pass it back. Could be like the Tommy podcast,
Listen,
isn't it?
you can do this anytime you like.
I'll
You
have
know
a
that.
go.
You can actually
Yes, so
sit
come
on
on
here
then.
and you can come on it.
When were you arrested? Stag do? Hen do?
Do you know what? I've never been arrested. I've been close.
But you had your fast trainers on and got away.
But no,
You're sort of slowly
I am
stuttering
slowly
a bit. So
but
you're making
surely.
this up.
The only one that I can think of is myself and the boys had been out in York for the day. So we'd done a day trip to York and had a few beers. It was only an hour and a half on the train from where we lived. And we're on York Station and we'd had a few beers and we're all merry, a little bit of hijinks as you do. And they have these planters on the train platform. And on the top were these little balls to make the planters look really nice. One of the lads realised you could take them off. So we're playing like football and on the platform with these planter things, and then you know, not thinking anything of it. Nobody was getting hurt or anything like that. It was just hijinks. And we got on the train, and it was a bit rowdy on the train from York to Doncaster. And when we got off the train at Doncaster, British Transport Police were waiting for us and lined us up on the platform and took names and addresses, things like that. And a couple of my mates got a little bit brave and started saying a few things, and they got carted off for breach of the peace, and we got told to go home and stop being stupid. But
did you act all sober?
Yeah.
Sobered up quickly?
Very quickly. Yeah, very quickly. And then when we were away with a group of lads when I was 15, and we were in the Isle of Wight on a camping trip, and we were sat outside a pub, and we were all drinking lager outside the pub at 15, and didn't realise the police station was across the road.
Waiting for you.
So over comes the desk sergeant. What are you doing in there?
Oh.
We're like, I didn't really like beer anyway. I'm still not a big fan of it now, but we'll not go down.
I think you're better than me.
You're going to say, I'm not even going to bring
Shandy.
that up.
What, Shandies?
Yeah, I wasn't even going to say your lager tops.
And,
you and your lager tops.
You used to get embarrassed. So if we had a beer, you would get embarrassed.
I bought you a lager tops.
You couldn't
I even ordered one for it as a northern
to whisper it.
To order a lager tops.
Yeah.
Lager tops.
For the southerner over there. Not for me.
No, make mine full fat, please. I want one of them.
I'm not hardcore enough.
One thing that we asked Christian Idden that was a really good one, and a couple of other lads. Jack Kennedy's I asked it of him as well. You're in the van. You're on your own. Radio's turned up to 11. What are you listening to?
Garage anthems. You look at me in this like disgusting way.
Absolutely not. I didn't realise that.
No, if I'm totally honest, I could listen to absolutely any music.
Yeah.
I'll listen to classical. I'll listen to rap, hip hop, country. Shania Twain. Love Shania Twain.
Celebrity crush.
Yeah, she actually, and her. I listen to any type of music really. Depends on what day of the week it is.
Depends what mood takes you.
So I have a few different music choices.
It's not even everybody.
You're setting the mood. You're definitely setting the mood. Can you put a bit of Shania Twain on?
Start bringing the chair in a bit closer.
You paid the bill?
Yeah, I have. Let's have a look. One more. Let's have a look. Okay, this is usually a good one. What's the strongest opinion you have on something that's not really that important? Basically, what pisses you off?
I would say, and it's worse down south, the disrespect in driving of get to a T-junction and you sit there and a car comes down the road and indicates into the turn, and they could have gone, there you go, away you go, or flashed you. No. The next car comes through, doesn't let you through, car stops there, but let them. That really winds me up. I'm like, come on, we're only going to lose 30 seconds. Just let me out the junction. So what I do, I just pull out and have a bit of road rage. But that's why we're all a little bit on edge, aren't we? I suppose down there. It's always a bit fast paced.
Life's a lot faster paced than it is up in Barrowford in East Lancashire, mate. There's no doubt about that.
Nice and relaxed. I need a bit of that, I think.
We're very relaxed and very chilled out up there. But now these lights have gone out. I guess that's one way of telling us it's time to wrap it up. It's 20 to 8, and it's getting dark, and you've got things to do. But I think we've done just a short of an hour. I think something like that, somewhere around there, which is what I was hoping for. So it's a great show, and thank you for the insight.
Absolute pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much,
ladies and gentlemen.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Cheers.